We're back. We're back. Like that. We're back. Like that. Okay. Let go. What's up, Edified Tribe? This is your girl, Kennedy Edwards, and welcome back to Edified Minds podcast, where I discuss issues that young women are facing regarding relationships, confidence, and accountability. I know you guys are mad at me. I can already feel the energy. Like, I don't know what was going on, y'all, but I had to take a break. So if you don't know, I kicked off season 2. What was this? November 7th. It was on my dad's birthday, and that wasn't on purpose. But I kicked it off November 7th, and then I took a little break in January for holidays, and then I took another break because your girl was fasting, and then I traveled, and so now I'm back. But this is actually the very last episode of season 2. I know that it was like, girl, why are you gonna give us a break and then just hit us with a last episode? Because so much more is coming, and I have so much to share with you guys. Like, I've had so much discovery, and I realized that I can't put it all into my podcast. So I'm gonna just start being more active on YouTube. But before you guys continue to watch, make sure that you hit subscribe. Make sure that you guys are listening to season 1 and season 2 on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and just make sure that you guys are catching up on everything so that today makes sense. So first of all, let's just get into the hair. Let's get into the hair. My hair is natural. I did a nice little silk press, and I brought this product called hair Botox, but it doesn't work. So I know that by the end of the day, because it's foggy outside, my hair is gonna frizz up. I don't care. We're gonna just do this for filming, and we're gonna keep it going. I'm tired of getting mad about my hair at this point, but this is like the con of being natural. Just putting that out there. If you're a natural sister, hello. But I understand the struggle sometimes with natural hair. And this is the part where I'm like, I wish that I actually had a relaxer. So some of y'all are wondering where I've been. The beginning of 2024 was a big fast for me. And my church was doing a 24-day fast. I talked about it a little bit, I think in like my last 2 episodes, but I was fasting. So literally God told me not to be on social media and not to be on my podcast. He was like, take a break, think about the beginning of the year. I need for you to strategize with me on where I'm going to be leading you, where I want to take you, and what I even want for your podcast. Like, is it you at this point doing this for you, or are you still doing this for me? So I had to pause, and I don't want to complain about like God's request or anything, but I was definitely annoyed at the time. I'm like, everything's going well. I had podcast guests coming on, but he was literally just like, you need to stop. You need to just hold. And let me tell you how good God is. Even though I was holding off and even though I wasn't posting, I had a video go viral. It went viral, but it was Meg Thee Stallion. And I've been like reposting celebrity content here and there, but it was like her talking about how people got mad when she was doing better for herself. And she was talking about how, you know, once you do better for yourself, once you heal, a lot of people get mad and they talking about like, why you cut me off and why'd you do this and why'd you do that? And because her and Nicki Minaj were beefing, I got like 400,000, 500,000 views, like 200, maybe 300 followers off of that. So God's like, dude, chill out, because I will always, always provide a way for you. If I tell you to sit, you sit. So while I was fasting, and I've fasted before, God is always talking to me when I'm fasting. He told me no TV, no secular music. If I do listen to music, it's got to be gospel. And there were some days where he was like, don't listen to anything, just be in silence. I don't know what I can accomplish in silence. I'm not a silent person. I like to talk. I like to, have music playing in the background. And I think a lot of us like to be distracted in that way. But he was like, no, I need for you to chill. I need for you to just sit down and be with me. And some things that I've discovered in my fast was some things like, don't be afraid to speak up for myself. But there are times where I've been afraid to speak up for myself because I don't know how someone else is going to take it. But then also, I also got some revelation to speak up for myself softer, but faster. Because I have this tendency where I don't speak up fast enough. And so things start piling up, anger, offense. And then when I finally do speak about it, I snap and I blow up. And that's not what he wants me to do. He also really highlighted not to let people inconvenience me in this season, in my actions or in my thoughts. He also highlighted for me not to work on Sundays. Like, Sunday is the Sabbath day. And I know that we're in a culture where we have to go, 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 go. And we got to make the money and got to get the bag, get the bag, get the bag. But God was like, I will provide. Like if you just sit when I tell you to sit, which is at this point, he wants for me to fast the very first week of every month for the rest of the year. So during that week, that is my rest. But when he tells me to go and when he tells me to be active, he's like, you need to be active when I tell you that, okay, rest time is over. So he was like, don't work on Sundays. And this was low key tugging at me because I'm cutting down debt. And my dad and I, we're going over like a big financial plan, y'all. Like I'm trying to get out of student loan debt and invest and buy a house. And so that takes time, but it takes a lot of discipline. And you got to make money. You got to, increase your finances. So that low key was like, why would I do that? Why would I not work when I need to make more money? But I've had to just learn to obey. And some keywords of the year for me have been like alignment, humility, obedience. These things were just beat into my mind throughout my fast. And I have so much more like discoveries in my notes, but I don't want to just go on about that. But just know my fast was self-serving and it was served from God himself. Like he was definitely just pouring into me throughout this time to tell me what I needed to work on this year. I know I'm not crazy. So I know when God talks to me, okay? And I know that he's telling me to rest. And I know that he's telling me to obey him because he's like, you keep doing things on your own and look how far it's gotten you. It hasn't gotten you far. So I'm not trying to fight this man on anything anymore. I'm trying to just be obedient and obey him. But it wouldn't be me if I didn't celebrate somehow, some way after my fast. So I took a trip to Dallas. I went to Dallas, Texas for the first time. I've been hearing a lot's popping off, a lot's going on in Texas. A lot of people are moving out there. And your girl had a ball. Okay. I went to a candle making class. I saw my brother play basketball at University of North Texas. He was balling out. And it was so cool to like see when he would score, how the whole stadium would just go crazy over him. So I just love to see my brother do well. And then on top of that, I was in like the Deep Ellum area. So I bar hopped and I met up with a girlfriend and we went to brunch and, I just looked around town and I just explored. Like I just love to explore. And I went on a solocation, by the way. If you've never been on a solocation, please go on one. It's very fun. You don't have to worry about other people. Like you can just focus on you. So while the trip was fun, I just started thinking even on the trip about resting. And I started tying it into this whole soft life thing. Like right before I went on my flight, my friend was like, speaking of podcasts, do you listen to Soft Life Through Christ? And I'm like, I've heard of them, but I don't really listen to them. Let me listen. And then I remember a song from Summer Walker called Hard Life. And, she was talking about how like she wants to live this soft life. But then you got this movement on social media about soft lives. And it's so aesthetic. It's like, get your nails done, get your hair done, put new flowers in your apartment. That's the soft life. But I started thinking about like this life that I feel God has ordained for me this year for me to start living out. And it's not soft. I'm going to have moments where I face obstacles and I face challenges and things get rocky and bumpy and hard. But I have to embrace that because it'll actually soften me to where things become plush. This episode is titled this. It's a plush life. I want to live a plush life because when you think of plush, it's luxurious and it's over the top. But think about life, right? Life is very over the top. And over the top could mean we're having just a horrible week or we're having just an amazing week. And there really sometimes is no in between. But how do you navigate during the over the top season? I kept hearing that if I don't obey, I won't ever have the life that I want to live. And it is so easy, ladies, for us to want this aesthetic or for us to kind of like, I don't know, become envious or even just idolize. Not if it's not envy, then idolizing somebody else's lifestyle, especially what they deem to be a soft life. But I wonder if you kind of look like in your life and ask yourself, okay, how am I handling the life that I have now? How am I stewarding it? And is it realistic for me to constantly have a soft life? Because I'm going to be real. I don't got no fresh flowers up in this house. All right. But I clean my home and I love my home and I take care of my home. And I don't get my nails done every single week. I get my nails done once a month and it is time for a fill-in. I'm going to zoom in just so y'all can see. I'm not playing, but my girl, look at the shape. It's still there. And I don't want for women to feel like they have to overspend their money for a soft life or always pamper themselves for a soft life. You can have a soft life if you want aesthetically and have a very hard heart. I want a soft heart. I want a loving spirit. I want to steward what God gives me. And I don't want to keep making the same mistakes and then complaining about my life. So I just thought about rest. And I thought about how at first I was fighting it, y'all. I was like, I don't want to sit down. I'm a workaholic. I'm a boss, babe. I'm a podcaster, God. Like, do you not know who I am? I'm a podcaster. You told me to do this. Why would you tell me to sit down? I have people listening. I'm going to lose followers. And during my rest, I gained followers. I was so shocked, y'all, when I looked up and I had like 300 extra followers on Instagram off doing nothing. Sometimes you can use things that have nothing to do with you and it can positively affect you. I gained more followers in a very short amount of time. There's one thing that I really want to emphasize, and it's that we're never going to have the life that we want if we do not obey him. If we continue to live this life as if we're the ones doing everything and orchestrating everything, it is going to be hard because there have been so many things that I thought I could do for myself. And I had to just sit there and just wait on him and be patient and have faith and lean on him. As you listen to this, I want for you to just take some time to think about some things that you have put on your back and some bags that you've been carrying that aren't yours to carry. Your parents may be having problems, but that's not your bag. That's not yours to carry. You and your man may be having issues, but you can't carry everything on your back. Your boss may not like something that's going on and maybe kind of annoying you and upsetting you, but you can't just break your back to try to make this boss happy, even if you're doing the best that you can do. Some things you got to just literally let go and give to God. At first, I was just going to do an audio recording and talk about this, but I felt like let's end it off the way that I've been doing it this whole season. Taking that rest is what I needed to have a new strategy. Like sometimes we actually need to rest, ladies. We are in such a time where we're like being forced to overwork just to make ends meet. Like I was looking at this documentary on YouTube and it was talking about how so many young millennials just cannot afford to live. We are overspending on living expenses. My dad, when we were going over my budget, told me, Kennedy, it's not that you overspend and it's not that you don't make enough money. You make very good money at your age. You're just spending a lot of money on living, your apartment, your bills. And so I want for us to just trust that if we take some time to sit down and re-strategize instead of running ourselves crazy and being like hamsters in the wheels where you're going fast, but you're not going nowhere, you'll see so much change and so much growth over time. I normally have vision board parties and my vision board is aesthetically pleasing. I have pictures of people's bodies like Lori Harvey, love her body. I have pictures of Louis Vuitton bags and Birkin bags and houses and cars and money. But this year, God told me, I need for you to think about what I want for you. I need for you to ask me what I want. And the first thing God showed me was that he doesn't want me to keep comparing myself to people. He was like, no more pictures of people. Just use symbolic images on your vision board. So for working out, I have a picture of a sneaker, a weight, and a water bottle. He wants me to highlight my femininity, but not just any old femininity, my natural beauty. So I came across this image of a girl's hair. She was pulling her hair out like it was showing growth. She had her natural nails. She showed her teeth. She showed her natural eyelashes. She showed her natural nails. God was just highlighting like, Kennedy, you can be beautiful and you don't have to be over the top. You know, I'm really learning to obey in this season. And I heard him clearly. You know, my vision board, he was like, he even highlighted to me my values. He was like, it's not hard to make decisions when you know what your values are. And that stood out to me so much because I'm like, dang, for the longest, I did not know my values. But in order to live this plush life, this life of luxury, this life where things can be over the top in a good or a bad way, but I'm going to thrive through it. It's all about obedience. And with my vision board this year, I'm telling you, when I show it to you guys, and I'll show it to you towards the end of the year, because I ain't got time for none of y'all to be praying against me, it will all make sense. Like, at first, it starts off sounding crazy. It starts off kind of sounding like, okay, but then eventually you'll see like this was ordained. And I want you guys to believe that for your own lives. Like if you hear something, of course, check yourself and be like, is it really of God? You know, read your word, make sure it's not some crazy stuff like, yeah, he told me to smoke weed this morning and relax. No, that ain't of God. That's something else. But if it is of him, and he's telling you to do it, I say pray on it, meditate on it, trust it, y'all. Trust it. I want to encourage you guys to do a few things as I take a break on this podcast because I'm going to just take a couple weeks off and then come back with season 3. And the first thing, ladies, is to please rest when God tells you to rest. If you feel like you are burning out, if you feel like you have done a lot and nothing's moving, nothing's changing, just rest. Take some time to yourself. And this doesn't mean you have to spend money. This is the part where I want to challenge what Instagram will tell you. You don't have to go on a spa trip to rest. You could just sit down in your home, clean up your house, have a nice fresh house, read the Bible, listen to some good music, chill. Write down and journal how you feel. Call up a girlfriend, have a good conversation. Like, it doesn't have to take spending money to rest and to have a pampering session. It doesn't take you having to spend all this money, having to buy a face mask. You don't have to do all that stuff. When God tells you to rest, sometimes it's just sit down. It's just stop distracting yourself. Don't listen to music. Don't go on social media. Don't call that man that you know you ain't supposed to be talking to anyway. Like, it's those type of things where he just wants you to be distraction free. But the opposite of that is to move when he tells you to move. I'm fasting this week. So as I was writing down in my notes some things that I hear when I'm fast, I want to kind of keep like a documentary of it and make sure I document it down. One thing that he told me was, Kennedy, you've been resting a lot. You've been resting more than what I told you to do. You know what I'm saying? Rest when I tell you to rest, but take action and move when I tell you to move. I told you to rest the first week out of the month. In those next 3 weeks, I told you to continue to work hard and pour into your podcast and hang out with friends. And I told you to do other things and you're not doing them. So now you're stagnant. Now you're still disobeying. So make sure that, ladies, you pay attention to when he tells you to rest and when he tells you to move. And the biggest thing is just keep trusting his plan and incorporate him into your daily life. Like, my life has changed by just always talking about him, always thinking about him, always wanting to please him. My life has changed drastically, ladies. And I'm going to talk more about this on my YouTube channel. One major thing I keep hearing him to tell me to do is just honestly spread this word. Like, spreading this word to the ladies who are just overworking themselves and you are working yourselves to the ground. It's not going to get us far. And it hasn't gotten me far. Like, I really did not value the importance of having this plush life where I'm living in luxury by being at peace, by having better direction, by not wasting my time doing things. Like, I'm just feeling like I'm living a plush life. It's not soft. It's not easy. There are hard moments. But if you look up the definition of plush, it's something that people do want. They want a life of luxury, but I feel like God is giving me that luxury. And it isn't about an aesthetic, and it isn't about spending money. It's about spending time with him. So, ladies, thank you guys so much for listening to season 2. I didn't want to make this a very lengthy episode, so it's kind of short, but I will be back. I'm going to take some more time just to think about new strategies and get some more guests on here and have some more conversations. And I just want you guys to subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you listen on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in a month. Make sure you also follow on Instagram as well at edifiedminds.podcast. Bye, you guys. Let go.